Good Friday morning, Jocelyn Center Variety Show fans. You'll see a little different background this morning. I'm at home this morning, so we don't have that bright, colorful Jocelyn Variety Show background. Welcome to our Friday interview show. Before we start with our interview, I wanted to give you some updates about the Jocelyn Center. As you know, we've been open now. We're just completing our third week. We're seeing more and more people come into the Jocelyn Center. We're still asking that you take your temperature and sign in and wear your masks. We're waiting. We want to wait just a couple more weeks to see if, with everything reopening, to make sure there's not a surge and to keep everyone safe, our members, our staff, and guests. Also, we're happy to say we'll be at the beginning of July starting to increase the size of some of our classes, beginning adding classes, our card games and board games, so there'll be more for you to do at the Jocelyn Center. And one thing I wanted to touch on is that, exercise right now is really important. We've all spent the last 14 months isolated. Certainly our exercise programs have been impacted. And as older adults, we've all been isolated, and that's really one of the most difficult things and can have the most long-lasting health impacts for us. So I'd really encourage you to look into our exercise classes. We have Go for Life Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, that's 4 days a week in the morning. We have our balance conditioning class. We have regular yoga and chair yoga. And we're adding new classes all the time. And it's really important because during this last year, we've lost body weight, we've lost muscle tone and strength and endurance. And we want to bring you back in, help you build that back up, because the most important thing is we don't want you to fall. And if you're weaker, you have less muscle strength and endurance, you're more likely to fall. Plus all the health benefits of exercise, not only physical, but exercise is one of the best ways to help with anxiety, or if you're depressed or just unsure what to do these days now that things are all open and things are changing every day. So we really welcome you. Get in touch with the Jocelyn Center, 760-340-3220, or our website, jocelyncenter.org. So this is our Friday interview show. I'm really happy that we have with us Belinda Montenegro from Ashes to Ashes. And we're going to be talking about something sometimes a lot of people don't like talking about, but that's free planning and also the work that Ashes to Ashes does for our community. So right now, I'd like to introduce Belinda Montenegro. She's kind of new to Zoom that we're doing this on, so it may take her a moment to join us. But Melinda, hit that mute button and your camera, and there you are.
Thank you.
How are you this morning? How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. It's Friday, so
it is Friday.
Been a long week.
And it's a long week and a relaxing weekend for us.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit first about yourself. You're with the company Ashes to Ashes, but tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience in the pre-planning industry.
Yes, of course. So I have been in the funeral industry for about 30 years. And I've worked for a variety of different corporations.
You started when you were 12?
Not that young. Thank you, though. But I worked for a variety of different corporations, and the last corporation I worked for, I was just very unhappy. So I decided to start Ashes to Ashes. And I am so proud of Ashes just because of the fact that I think we're so different than what most people are accustomed to. We are in a very, very delicate business. but I think it's wonderful that we are basically guiding people and helping people. I think it's amazing. Um, yeah, as you mentioned, not many people like to discuss death, but it's again a part of life. It's basically, death gives us a deadline, and it makes life worth living. So, yeah, yeah.
I apologize if you hear any sound in the background. I have some workers here at the house. I had asked them to be quiet for a little while, but we'll work through it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of pre-planning, because as we mentioned, people sometimes just don't want to talk about it, or they may make arrangements and not communicate with their families. Can you talk about that a little bit and why it's
Yes,
important for
absolutely.
that communication?
I think it's so important. And what it is it's responsible of you to do so that you don't have the burden on your family. Again, talking about it, making sure that you're communicating with your family members on what your wishes are. Pre-planning, I think, is so important, and it really is. It's kind of a good thing. What you do is you express what your wishes are, you write them down, we treat it like a will, and basically, nothing can supersede it. And you get to tell your family, hey, these are my wishes, this is what I want. And it's so wonderful because it locks in the price. As you know, funeral homes are a business. Every year you're going to see prices go up, but with this, it locks in the price so you don't have to worry about it. And it really is the most responsible thing to do so that you don't have to burden your family with this. I mean, they're already going to go through that grieving process of you passing, so they don't need the additional grievance to actually decide, okay, well, I don't know what mom did or mom wanted, or I don't know what dad wanted, or kind of doing a guessing game between siblings or spouses and wanting to know what they have to do.
And I think that's so important because families are, when they have the loss of a loved one, are grieving. Lots of emotions there right at the surface, and knowing and having gone through it myself with my own parents, knowing that the arrangements have been made really takes that added stress off the family. And
Absolutely.
that's, you know, you can look at it as a gift to your family before you pass away.
Really, you can, because then all they really have to do is just, spend time with each other, remember you, honor you, as opposed to scrambling, or arguing, wondering, okay, well, mom did want cremation, or no, she wanted burial, or, it basically, it's a responsible thing to do.
So tell us a little bit about some of the things that services that Ashes to Ashes provides, both to the person making the arrangements and then to the family when those arrangements need to be carried out.
Well, again, we treat every individual sort of like they're our own family. I, again, am very honored, and I feel so, yeah, I basically feel so honored to be here, at Ashes, because we're so much more different than other funeral homes. Um, I think we treat everyone with complete and utter respect. And I think that's important because, again, you're literally facing one of the most horrible days of your life, losing a loved one. So I think that's important. I think it's important to communicate with families and be on their level. You have to understand that this is a pretty bad day for people, and they don't need, what they need is guidance. And I think that we provide that.
And what sort of information do you provide to the families? Um, how do you get in touch with them, or they get in touch with you?
Well, they typically get in touch with us, depending on how they do it. I know that it's kind of funny that Palm Springs is a little different than the LA area. I've had people call me in the Palm Springs area, and I ask, well, how did you hear about us? And very funnily, they say they called the operator, and I guess Ashes starts with an A. So, they ended up calling us as opposed to someone in Los Angeles where they just Google us or, they Yelp us and here we pop up. But yeah, that's pretty much how people get a hold of us.
And while we're talking about getting a hold of you, what is your contact information? If some of our listeners would like to talk with you a little bit more.
Absolutely. So the best way to go, you'd go up onto our website at info at ashes2ashesinc.com, or they can always give us a call. The phone number is 760-804-3323.
So when you are talking with the individual who wants to make arrangements, what kind of information do you provide them, as well as, how do you encourage them to share this with their family?
Well, I think it's very important that everyone should have this conversation. More or less, I guess it just depends on the family. Most people communicate very well with their families and some just don't. Um, but I think my main purpose is to kind of guide them and let them know the kind of do's and don'ts of even when somebody passes away. Um, I like to tell all my families that, there's certain things that you should probably do that, or probably don't do so that you don't kind of get yourself in a rut. One of the things that I like to tell families is that I know that they're in a very delicate state of mind when somebody passes away. And I feel that most people have that kind of mentality where they need to start taking care of stuff. So they were going to, the husband passed away yesterday. Now they're rushing to the bank to notify all these institutions. And unfortunately, what happens is that backfires quite a bit. If you're on a joint account and you're the other person of the joint account passes away, if you walk into a bank, 99% of the time, they're going to freeze all funds and you're not going to be able to access anything until you actually have the death certificate. So those are important decisions to make, of kind of learning when to just kind of go back and not focus so much on the things you need to do right away. Again, this is a process. Our lives are so delicate that we really just need to um, honor people and not get so involved with the paperwork aspect or what to do, the to-do list. So I think it's important to just kind of guide people and let people know that, okay, this is fine and you can do what you want to do, but you've got to just breathe a little, inhale, exhale, to kind of just take it in and not be so concerned with running around and notifying places and the finances and everything, because again, everything's going to work out.
And again, as I understand it, that's one of the things that one of the services that you help and provide to the family is making sure they get the
Yeah.
death certificates they need, um, for filing for whether it's life insurance or um, those bank accounts, those sorts of things. That's part of the service that you provide.
Yes, we do. And
And
again, we try to streamline it and we make it very easy. Um, you know, I know that earlier I was having a bit of a problem on Zoom, which I know I probably should take a course there at the Jocelyn Center. But I think that it's important to kind of just again having things easy, not having things so difficult. What we try to do is we try to streamline the process. You're able to go onto our website. You're able to chat with us via email, and we're able to do documentation. We still want to abide by the COVID, 19 rules. So again, we try to make everything easy to where if you don't want to come to our office, we will gladly go to your off or your home. If you don't want to even see us, that's okay. You can do all arrangements online as well.
Um, I had a question that went out of my mind.
I'm sorry.
That's so ashes to ashes is cremation. What are some of the differences between cremation and what people think of as more traditional burial and that process?
Well, it's just a matter of preference too. Cremation is going to be more financially, I guess, beneficial as opposed to traditional funeral homes or traditional services or burials. When you have cremation, you are basically having a one sort of service, something that's very, very final, as opposed to, and what we're doing here at Ashes is we're trying to make it very, very financially affordable. Our package starts at $995. When you're looking at traditional burials, you're basically more or less looking at thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars because so much is required. When you go, you're looking at services, you're looking at embalming, you're looking at dressing and casketing, you're looking at the casket, you're looking at the property, flowers and officiant and music and limousines and escorts. And so everything has a tendency to add up. And I think with cremation, we really try to make it as simple as possible.
Well, I think that's all very important information, and I think the one thing to stress out of this conversation is, you know, I think it really is a gift to the family for a person to make prearrangements, um, discuss those with their family so the family isn't surprised when a person passes away. And for me, that's the most important thing. And to develop that, I think it's important that they develop a trust or a relationship with their advisor. Is that something I'm sure that you try to do?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, I feel so honored just to be a part of Ashes because of the fact that I think everybody that is a part of Ashes really treats everyone with utmost respect. And I think that's so important. Why do you want to entrust anybody with your loved one that you don't trust, that you can't, you feel uncomfortable with? Why do that? I mean, I personally would never do that. If it came to my parents, I would never want to not feel comfortable with who's guiding me. I think that's so important.
Um, let's again give our viewers your contact information, how they can get in
Sure.
touch with you.
So the phone number is 760-804-3323. And they can always go onto our website at ashes2ashesinc.com.
Inc.
Uh,
is Incorporated,
yes,
INC.
inc.com.
Okay.
And it's actually TO, not the number. It's not numerical. So
Okay.
it's Ashes
So
TO, Ashes Inc.
spelled out as we have on the screen, inc.org.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to thank you, Belinda, for spending some time with us this morning. I think
Thank you.
we want people to learn about the businesses that support the Jocelyn Center, but also become educated on important aspects, and pre-planning is one of those things that's so important, that individuals need to think about. We don't always want to think about it. And I'll do a plug right now. The Jocelyn Center has a class coming up called Aging Mastery. And not only does it talk about pre-planning and the importance of doing that and why you want to do that, it talks about financial issues, exercise, sleep, relationship issues. So it covers a lot of issues and helps provide the kind of education that you received today from Belinda on a 10 subject course. So I'll put that little plug in here at the end of our interview. So I want to thank you for joining us. I hope you have a great weekend. And that is today's Joslyn Variety Show interview with Belinda Montenegro from Ashes to Ashes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Belinda.
Have a great weekend.
You too.